Hey everybody, thank you for tuning back in here. This is part two of our three-part series of the Sorcery Alpha Kickstarter Playmat reveals. So I'm starting again here at the Collector Art House webpage because I wanted to feature the artwork of Ian Miller. We're about to see an Ian Miller playmat reveal for the very first time from Sorcery Contested Realm TCG Alpha. All right, so I'm at www.collectorarthouse.com at the Sorcery Art Gallery page, and I've scrolled down to the artworks by Ian Miller. It starts here with the forest, I'll just call it. The names have changed quite a bit in the development of the game, so there's been some evolution from the early sample cards and kind of like when even pre-sample cards when the game was still just digitally kind of being strewn around and we started seeing images of these. We would get the names of the cards from the artists actually, so they were working under some loose name guidance. They had an idea of the title of the card and that kind of shaped the illustration, but that has since evolved as the development of the game has matured into its final state for alpha. So without further ado, you have the forest card, the war spasm. This relentless crowd is a promo card, and there's only going to be 100 copies of these, and they've been very difficult to get. The company has been distributing these through special promotional type things like giveaways and contests and things like that. So it's been a bit of luck of the draw. I think a few people may have been issued them for some special situations where they helped with the company or did something kind of above and beyond. So kind of like a random thank you from the company, I guess I would call it. So they're going to be very coveted since they're so rare, only 100 copies, and it's such a sensational artwork by Ian Miller here. And then we have these two below, and I'll talk to this one in a moment. But to get to the point, you see, like, when you go and click on these images, they kind of blow up on the website, and the name of the card there, at least in the case of Ian's work, is what I pulled from his website when I went and data mined all these full art images, and I collated them on this singular website for the community. I did this early on. I think I built this website in January is probably when I stood it up, and I was pulling it down from the artist websites, and it was interesting finding the names that they were working under in early development, because these artworks were commissioned by Erik, the art director and founder of the company, back as early as 2018, I think was probably the earliest, maybe 2017, 2018. So this project has been in development for 4+ years, and again, the names have changed significantly over time, even the name of the game itself. All right, so here you go, War Spasm, beautiful artwork by Ian. Like the line detail is incredible in all of the work that he does. Here's so it was called Ragged Men, or at least that's what this might have been, even self-titled by Ian early on. I'm not quite sure. I know it's called Relentless Crowd now, but this was actually work that he had already done pre-Sorcery. I don't believe it was special commission for Sorcery. It was just an artwork that he kind of offered up to Erik for his potential use. So there's probably a license agreement in place for this particular one, but really incredible. Just the level of detail is always really phenomenal and kind of one of a kind and unique to his own style, which makes it really special. So there's a lot of like this really artistic skill and just kind of weaving these faces. It's a common theme you see in a lot of his artwork, just kind of woven into the fabric of the card. It has so much texture and detail that's really going to look really awesome on an actual printed card and in foil, with the special foil techniques that Sorcery is doing. And now with this piece, this was another one that was done previously, and let me see if I could zoom in. It doesn't zoom too well, but there's just such texture to this kind of like background here. He actually did this. Let me go to, I'm going to have to unzoom a bit. I did a behind the art feature on this particular card, and I'll show that briefly before I go to the live cam for our reveal. But if you scroll down at this Sorcery Behind the Art tab, right, and then you click on the card, and it'll launch an article about the background of this. And, I reached out to Ian Miller and I asked him about this. I was interested in the original painting, curious if he still had it for sale, and just wanted to try to get some more insight on where this artwork came from when it was revealed in the Discord for the first time. I thought it looked super impressive. And he said it was, his terminology was pretty funny. I think he said, let's see, did I get his quote on here? The way he phrases his emails, he's a very unique and just humorous, great sense of humor kind of guy, and he said this was like written for a substantial tome, is how he referred to this book. And I think he was talking about the topic. He said it was like a political book or something, right? And it's called The Global Politics of Power, Justice, and Death. You know, so it's a very serious book, I guess. I haven't read this book, obviously, but I went and searched for it, and I found it. And here's the artwork, and it's kind of cool because you see this in like portrait style. It's like a full jacket. So I guess if you expanded this, that's how you get the landscape type representation that you see on the sorcery card. But it kind of folds and it spans the front and back cover of that text, that book. So it's just a really impressive artwork. And he had mentioned here, you could go and read the story in more detail. I won't belabor it too much, but he did, I think he said he did like 3 or 4 different variants. And ultimately, the one that is used for sorcery is also the one that was selected for the book cover. And then these other ones, I think he has since sold, but these were the ones that the other variants, I guess, were not selected, but they're all like really cool and impressive. You see his signature down there. All right, so let's see. The last thing I wanted to show, let's just go to the cards before we leave the site. On the Ian Miller page, you see all the different cards that we are expecting to see from Alpha. So a lot of those we saw on the full art page. They were not all on his website, like this one, Ultimate Horror, and Free City. I think I couldn't find the full arts of those, but those are cards that we also expect to see in the Alpha release. So he has a bunch of these Atlas cards, which are landscape style artworks. And now if I go to, I'm going to go to the live cam and show you the preview, right? And I have the Screaming Skull, which I showed in part 1 because I didn't want to spoil it when I switched here, but I'm going to fold this back and we're going to see the Ian Miller playmat. Boom, there it is. The Geistwood is what it's now currently called in card form. And this is, unfortunately, I don't have any of these sample cards to show off. I ended up selling a few of these, actually. I think 2 or 3. It was super popular and sold for quite a premium. So one thing I want to caveat, when you're looking at this this playmat, right, it looks a little bit, the color tones look a little bit washed out. That's just a bit of an effect from the camera. There's actually a very deep green color saturation on these that really makes it pop and look really special and detailed, and just a lot more vibrant than you're seeing on the screen here. And it'll be interesting because, again, I said this in the last video, I'm not sure if these playmats were actually test mats and there was some further changes done between Erik and the printer, so it might change a bit, but this version, at least that I have in hand, and again, this is direct from Erik, from the company itself, so this is a legitimate sorcery playmat. It's branded with their logo. It has the Alpha symbol, so you know that's from the Kickstarter. This is what we can expect to see, and it just looks like so great in this large form. These would probably, his prints probably look great. I actually know some people that have purchased some Ian Miller originals, and I've seen some images that they have sent me privately, and his artwork is just truly one of a kind. I mean, the detail on this is just so wildly intricate that it must just take him an insane amount of time to develop these artworks and illustrations. And he's still very active. He's still doing work from Sorcery, or he's doing work for Sorcery, obviously, but he still does work for Magic the Gathering. And if you guys think you haven't seen Ian Miller artwork before, or are not familiar with his name, you probably have seen this style of artwork and thinking that this looks familiar to you, because he does other commissions. You know, I showed some examples of the book, and he's also done it for sleeves for Dragon Shield. So you've probably seen it if you're a Dragon Shield penny sleeve user. You might have seen his artwork branded as a promotional brand that they use on some of their box covers and kind of like the backs of sleeves and things that you may have ordered in the past. But in the absence of having sorcery cards of Ian's that I could show, I wanted to at least feature some of his artwork. And I have some like older Magic cards that I can do that with. Just to give a flavor of his art style. Of course, let me zoom out so it's not too overly sensitive. But this is, you know, all his artwork is super detailed like this. You cannot mistake an Ian Miller artwork. It's always really going to pop and stand out. And set that aside. Wow, it's really doing a number with, I'm going to have to unzoom. There we go. Just to focus on the card, you know, his artwork, like I say, is unmistakable. We saw on the website, collectorarthouse.com, you know, looking at his page, if you scroll down the Sorcery Full Art Gallery page and you go through, you're going to get to his and you're just going to know it's immediately that it's his, right? And when you're playing the game, it's going to pop out and you'll know instantly that's an Ian Miller artwork. But you kind of see, here's a good example. You know, it reminds you of the Relentless Crowd. He's always doing these kind of skeletal type structures. And just look at the detail in the shield there with those faces that he does so well and the tremendous line work. It's just super interesting. Really draws your eye. And in the Sorcery format, when it goes edge to edge in full screen, you know, look at this one compared to the Playmat. It really pops when it's in full art. And that's going to be really special on the back of the foil cards. You know, the front facing side of the foils are going to have the intricate foils that we've seen some teaser video previews of. And then on the back, you're going to get a full art image of the artist's artwork without any text boxes at all. So those are going to look phenomenal. And you can imagine how great this particular artwork from the Playmat is going to look in full art on a card. That is going to be exceptional. But this one, you know, true to his style, the Geistwood artwork from the Playmat kind of resembles works he's done from decades ago. This is from the Mirage set in Magic, dated 1996. Look at that. So over 20 years ago, coming up on 30 years. You can kind of see, you know, he hasn't lost a touch. He's an older guy. It's pretty amazing. He's still doing art and doing it to this level of detail and doing, again, as many commissions as he does. I think he's definitely had some artwork in some recent Magic sets, and he's also doing Sorcery concurrently. So he's still got a very active workload. Busy guy. I wanted to do an interview with him, but he kind of made a funny joke. He's saying he made some joke about how he's like a boring guy, or it would bore people to tears if he talked about himself, which of course is absolutely not true. And I love to interview him, but you know, he respectfully declined, unfortunately. So we'll just have to go search what's out there on the internet and appreciate his art, which is the most important thing, of course. There's a lot of information out about him there. And was able to do that one behind the art feature. But look at this one. So much detail, so much going on. You saw that in the Sorcery artworks too. So his Sorcery work is really going to probably feature the full extent of his work. And this Playmat, again, I'll zoom out and give you one last look. This is a fun one, guys. If you got this one, you're going to be pleased. Again, this is another single player mat. So it's the standard size, or the typical size you would see for most games. And then in our third and last of this series, you're going to see a 2-player Playmat, which is very large, very eye-popping, and it's a super, super popular artwork. So look for that one soon. Thank you guys for your interest. Please follow along, like and subscribe, and share the video with your network. Appreciate it. Take care, everybody.